I woke up before sunrise, heart racing with raw excitement. Today I would lay the first plank of my own house. My truck rolled down the dirt road, tires crunching in steady rhythm, and every bump felt like a promise kept. The sky glowed soft pink. A single bird called out, as if cheering me on. I cut the engine, stepped out, and drew one long breath of cedar-scented air. This land was mine. I bought it fair and square, paid every fee, signed every page. No neighbors. No barking dogs. Only wind and trees and the distant hum of grasshoppers. I pictured the home already. A wide porch, big windows, room for my future kids to chase fireflies at dusk. I could almost hear their laughter. That thought filled my chest with warmth. I set up my tool belt, grabbed the first beam, and felt the weight of it settle into my palms. A good, honest weight. Sunlight spilled over the tree line. Sawdust floated like glitter in the fresh morning light. I smiled so hard my cheeks ached. The dream I'd carried for years was turning solid beneath my fingertips. By noon, sweat soaked through my shirt, but I didn't care. Hammer, nail, repeat. Each strike echoed a vow. This is home. I paused for water, wiped my forehead, and admired the skeleton of the first wall rising from the earth. Joy buzzed in my veins. I was building a life, boards and nails and hope intricately connected. Then I heard tires crunch behind me, slow, deliberate. A silver SUV rolled up, cleaner than any off-road vehicle had a right to be. The driver's door opened. A woman stepped out wearing heels far too delicate for dirt. Clip-clop, clip-clop. Every tap of her shoes on gravel sent a small crack through my happiness. She folded her arms, chin high, lips tight. "You can't build here," she announced, voice sharp as broken glass. My smile faltered. I held up a friendly hand. "Morning. I own this land. Can I help you?" My tone stayed calm, but my stomach tightened. She produced a clipboard like it was a badge. "This lot is under the Homeowners Association," she snapped. "You need written approval." The air grew thick. My pulse hammered. "I bought it without any HOA," I said, steady but firmer. I pulled the deed from my toolbox, the papers still crisp, legal, undeniable. She barely glanced at them. "I'm calling 911, she declared, tapping on her phone with manicured certainty. Shock hit me first. Then a rising wave of disbelief. Was I suddenly an intruder on my own land? My fingers trembled around the deed. I took a breath, forcing my voice to stay even. "Ma'am, these papers show I'm the owner." She turned away, phone to ear, ignoring every word. Sirens were not far. I imagined flashing lights slicing through the trees and neighbors I didn't yet have peering out with judgment I had not earned. Fear mingled with anger inside my chest, swirling so fast I felt dizzy. I had planned on setting rafters after lunch, maybe humming along to an old country song. Instead, I stood frozen, watching her report me as if I were a thief. My dream home, only hours old, now lived under a shadow of blue lights that raced closer with each second. The police cruiser pulled up slowly, dust rising around it like fog. I stood still, deed in hand, heart pounding in my ears. 2 officers stepped out, one older, one younger. The older one walked with calm authority, but his eyes scanned the site like I was a suspect. The younger officer kept a hand near his belt. I didn't move, didn't speak. I just held the papers out and said, "This is my land. I'm building my home." They didn't answer right away. The woman, the self-declared HOA boss, rushed over to them. She talked fast, pointing at me like I was trespassing, building without permits, disturbing the neighborhood. She said I was ignoring regulations. She said I was putting the area in danger. She said a lot. None of it true. The older officer turned to me. "Do you have ID?" I nodded and handed it over. My hands were dirty from the morning's work, and I felt suddenly small under their gaze. "This deed," I said, "has the coordinates. It matches this land. I checked everything before buying it. There's no HO here." He took the papers. "Read through them. Quiet. Focused." The younger officer glanced at the unfinished frame of the house, then back at me. "She says this is protected land," he said. "She says there's an HOA with rules." I shook my head. She can say whatever she wants. But what matters is what's legal. They stepped away to talk. I stood there, dust sticking to my sweaty face, fists clenched at my sides. I wasn't a criminal. I wasn't doing anything wrong. Yet here I was, being treated like I didn't belong. Like I was building on someone else's property. My dream had turned into a courtroom drama, and I hadn't even been warned. The woman crossed her arms and gave me a smug look. Like she'd already won. Like she thought I'd pack up, tuck my tail, and leave. Maybe others had. Maybe she'd done this before. I called my lawyer that afternoon. I wasn't playing guessing games anymore. I sent him everything: deed scans, coordinates, maps, receipts, sale records. Every single document I had. He promised to review it all and get back to me fast. Still, that night was restless. I didn't sleep much. Just lay on the air mattress in my truck bed, watching shadows stretch across the ceiling. A few days passed. I stayed off the site, let things cool down, but the rage inside me didn't. I wasn't about to be bullied off land I paid for. Then my lawyer called. His voice was steady, but there was something new in it, something sharp. "You don't just own your plot," he said. "You own the entire zone. All of it. Every inch. That HOA. It doesn't legally exist. They're just playing pretend." I couldn't speak for a moment. I just sat there, phone in hand, feeling the anger drain out slowly, and something stronger take its place. I drove back to the land the next morning, earlier than usual. The sun hadn't even touched the tops of the trees yet, but my mind was already racing. This time, I didn't come with caution. I came with certainty. I parked, stepped out, and looked around at the open space that stretched in every direction. Mine. Every bit of it. The silence felt different now. Not like the silence before a fight, but the kind that comes after one. The kind that feels earned. I set up my tools again. Same hammer. Same beams. But this time, no tension sat on my shoulders. No worry about flashing lights or a stranger calling the cops. I picked up the wood and started working again, just like I had planned all along. The nails sank in smoother. The boards felt lighter. Then I heard another car pulling up. I paused. It was the same silver SUV. She stepped out, slower this time. No heels. No clipboard. She didn't come closer. Just stood by her car, arms hanging loose, eyes watching me like she wasn't sure what to say. I didn't say a word either. After a long minute, she turned, got back in, and drove away. That was the last time I saw her. Later that day, the officers returned. But this time, no tension, no accusations. They just came to follow up. I handed over a full set of documents. They nodded, said I was well within my rights, and left with a quiet apology. That moment settled something deep inside me. 4 days, I built with focus. Piece by piece, the house took shape. The porch beams stood tall. The walls went up. I worked through heat and dust, through muscle aches and tired hands. But every moment was filled with pride. I wasn't just building a structure. I was building a message. I belong here. Neighbors started showing up, but not in anger, just out of curiosity. They asked questions. They waved. A few even offered to help. And each time, I told them the same story. About how someone tried to scare me off. About how they called 911. About how they didn't know who I was, or what I owned. I could see it in their eyes, the shock, then the quiet respect. There's something powerful about knowing your rights. About standing your ground when people expect you to fold. This land was more than soil and grass. It was proof of what persistence looks like. Of what happens when you refuse to be pushed aside. Now when I walk across the porch, I feel it under my feet, the weight of every struggle and the pride that came from pushing through it. The wind moves through the trees the same way it always did, but it sounds sweeter now. Like it's on my side. And every time I glance across the open field, I remember what it felt like when someone tried to claim what was mine. Tried to stop my dream before it even began. They didn't know who they were dealing with.